It has been my impression with visiting with people for a long time that they thought that the Winchester 73 was almost the same size as the 76, and that you probably could get the same amount of power loads out of the 73 as you could the 76. I beg to differ, but that just can't be true when you look at it. And so here is the comparison that I was talking to you about before. If you don't have them side by side where you can compare the size, and if you don't have the plates off the side where you can compare the size of the Lincoln toggle system, and it would look like maybe they are about the same size, but they're really not. One is much bigger than the other. And the reason they had to be much bigger than the other, and I'll show you this right now, is because the cartridges were much bigger than the others. This, my friends, is the cartridge for the Henry repeater and the 1876 or the 1866 Winchester, and this one is a rimfire and copper cased lead bullet. The one in the 73 takes this round, or a round that is very similar to this, and this one here happens to be a 4440. This is a 44 flat Henry rimfire, and so you can see the major difference in power that you would have between the Henry repeater in the 66 and the Winchester 1873 with a centerfire cartridge. Then if you go to the 1876, you now can see the great difference in size between the 1876, the 1873, and the Henry repeater in the 1866. Obviously, there was more cartridges for the 1876 than this one. There was more cartridges of different kinds in the 1873 than this one. And this is the cartridge that they used in the Henry repeater and the 1866 Winchester. And so it would be easy to see that this is the smallest cartridge, that the gun that shot this cartridge would have to be much bigger than this one because it has about double the powder, double the load, and more pressure and power. And obviously the 1876 that shot this one would have to be much bigger and heavier built than the 1873. Common sense. As you remember on the last video, we talked about that you had these plates that was on each side. You remove one screw and you can get to the plates, the Lincoln toggle system that you have here. So I'm going to pick this up just a little bit and show you this. This is the Lincoln toggle system on the 73, and it is just as smooth as silk, just like the one that we compared it to with the Henry repeater. The only thing that is different on this one than the Henry repeater is that this one has a loading plate, or a loading magazine entrance place here. If you look at these two, you'll notice that the rifle on where the lifter is, the elevator is right here. Look at the difference in length that you have here over the 1876. Look at the difference in the size of the opening for the Lincoln toggle system and how much larger it is here. The whole gun is thicker through the receiver area, longer, and along with that, it's a lot heavier. And that absolutely was part of the downfall of the reason the 76 didn't sell as well, is that people who were buying rifles liked the feel of the 73 and how it was light and compact. When they got the 76, it was just a lot bigger, just like a much bigger rifle that you have today in a bolt-action rifle. Now, I want to show you something else so you know why it has to be bigger. The cartridge has to be able to fit in this brass lifter, totally within that brass lifter. If it was too long, it would jam and it wouldn't be able to bring it up. If it was too short, it would jam. Just like the 76 has to fit in this brass lifter. You can see how that works? Has to be almost exact. And that's a key component in order to get these things to work like they should. And I can guarantee I know, because I've been reloading this for a long time and made a lot of mistakes trying to figure out how to make this shoot. Now I'm going to hold up both guns. You can see how the 76 works the same way. I'm going to hold up both guns and show you the great size comparison. There's the 73. It's a little bit difficult because I have to hold them up both at the same time. And there's the 76. Do they look like they're the same size to you? They don't look like they're the same size to me. The 76, which is the one I'm working with in my left hand, is much bigger, much longer, much heavier than the 73. Okay, my friends, that concludes the demonstration of the difference between the 1873 and the 1876 as far as size is concerned. It talks a little bit about and explains to you the different size cartridges that was used all the way from the Henry repeater, the 66 Winchester, the 1873 Winchester, and the 1876 Winchester. It's easy to see that the cartridge continued to get bigger and more powerful, producing much more pressure as you go on. And so that's the reason that they changed from brass or gunmetal to iron or steel receivers in the 73 and the 76. And it's the reason that the 76 is much bigger than the 73. It takes more metal to make it hold the pressures. And obviously more metal indicates bigger, wider, heavier. The public didn't want bigger, wider, and heavier, apparently, because that's the reason they didn't sell well. It was a slow seller.